Hello, welcome to my video for January. I'm Karen Antara, and actually this video I'm going to expand it so that it's not just for January, but really the energies that I see coming through for 2025 and actually beyond that as well. So we are now in 2025, of course, and I think you'll agree with me that it's pretty evident that we are already. We can see that we're heading into some very turbulent and some very chaotic times, but also some very transformational times, and that's a good thing. The world will never be the same after this year. In actual fact, its frequency has already changed, and people are really expressing that in some very, very positive ways. So I'm very, very hopeful for our future, but there is some turbulence that we can expect on the way. Now, a transformation is a dramatic change in form or appearance, and it can happen as a result of an important event. Now, when you think back to the start of 2020, not that anyone really wants to go back there, but that was a pretty important event that they brought through, the dark guys, the dark agenda. They brought that event through, and it has transformed the world. Now, personally, I would rather not see that type of event happen again, but things often happen twice. When we look at how things are created in the parallel and then how they are made manifest in the physical a few years later, I've observed this happen specifically over the last 16 years, how these events happen in one level and then it happens again in the next level. Now, in this case, it happened once in our parallel reality because that's where we were at that point. And now again, they're trying to bring it through into this physical reality again now. Now, we are 5 years into the effect of that sequence, that event sequence. And the world has changed. People have changed. Many people have woken up. I think without that event, not so many people would have woken up. It was almost like it shocked them into waking up. So as strange as that seems, that's kind of been a good thing, right? People have changed so much. So it doesn't have to be the same again. If we change it with our consciousness. Now, we have the power, don't forget that. So they can't create it in this reality if we don't use our energy and our consciousness to make it so. We really have to remember that now. If they try to bring the same event through, it's what we do next with it that will dictate whether that is made manifest or not. And we know by now, surely, certainly if you're listening to me, I think you would already know what their whole agenda is with that stuff, right? I'm censored here on YouTube, so there's a lot I can't say, but I do speak very, very openly in my private membership spaces because I'm not censored there. It's a private platform. So I'm talking in code here. Hope you can get me. Now, we have been in a spiritual battle for the whole of these 5 years. In actual fact, this really started to ramp up. I saw it ramp up around 2016-ish, 2017 maybe. The darkness ramped up their agenda back then. Now they're trying everything they can do to prevent us from really going through our own organic ascension process and the planetary ascension process as well. Now, this is really a battle for your soul. So energetic protection of the right kind is very, very important now. And I share my way of doing the energetic protection in my membership space and in my classes. So if you want any of that information, just reach out to me and I'll let you know where you can find that. Now, it's been really uncomfortable to witness, but honestly, I do think the events from 2020 helped to wake a lot of people up. A lot of people wouldn't have woken had they not had to go through that stuff. People only change when their lives are so painful that they just can no longer live with it the way it is. They just can't bear it any longer. It's almost like they really are forced to change, at that point. And since that time, people have been cleaning up their diets, because they're becoming more health conscious. They are beginning to see that they don't like what they see in the mirror. Maybe their body feels heavy and sluggish when they get out of bed in the morning, or maybe they've developed a dis-ease that potentially threatens their life. Now, those are usually the points in time that we really begin to make some changes, when we don't like ourselves much, when we're struggling with something. That's when we say, wow, I really need to make a change with this. Now, it's not just our diet, though, that needs to be cleaned up. It's our mind, and the thoughts we have. And very often as well, the lack of power that we have, the lack of self-worth that we have, all of that kind of thing. And as well, what's really coming up for a lot of people right now is what's going on in their body. And it's about what they've put into their body in terms of medications, drugs, alcohol, all of the synthetic chemicals that we have put into our body. A lot of that is having very, very adverse effects on our physical vessel now. And this is because all of those things I've mentioned are of a much lower frequency than where our body is beginning to ascend into with our consciousness as well. Now, remember that your body is your ascension vehicle. You need to treat it like a temple, a sacred, divine temple, sacred vessel, because without your physical body, you can't survive here. So as we start this year, we have the fallout of the last 5 years that we're watching playing out around us, and what it's done to people. Their deteriorating health, their financial stresses and worries. Many businesses have collapsed, of course. Many relationships have collapsed as well, in breakdown from that stress of all the different elements of that. And some of it is simply because someone that you love chose to have or not to have the poke in the arm thing, or multiple pokes in the arms. Literally that has broken down families. People are stressed about that. There's an awful lot that we have going on. There is also an awful lot of people in trauma from these events that haven't even recognized that they are in trauma yet. This is all going to be coming up into their awareness through this year. So this year is off to a bit of a messy start, isn't it? We have a lot of cleaning up to do, but transformations can happen at every level. And it's about a transformation for you. This is not a competition of who's the best or who's more evolved. This is really your personal, individual soul journey. Because we all start at different places as well. Physically, some people have more things to clean up than others, but others have got a lot of emotional stuff that they have to clean up, and others have got mental stuff or spiritual stuff. And in terms as well of our soul purpose, our contract, and our past lives, what we're bringing through from past lives. And it's all about what we are here to do right now, why we find ourselves here. It would be enough if all we had to focus on was our own personal growth. But no, we have the challenges as well of living in this controlled matrix where they make the rules until we become wise enough and empowered enough to opt out. And we are in a spiritual battle, but one that contains so many levels of manipulation and their self-serving agendas that it's really, really hard to see the wood from the trees. It's really difficult to see what is truth, what is manipulation. But this year is a year for truth and authenticity. And the truth vibration, the vibration frequency of authenticity is very, very high. And so if we want to live in truth, authentically, we have to do everything we can to shift out the old, lower vibration stuff and raise our frequency to that. And then we live at the reality of truth. And then it becomes a lot easier to see through their lies and manipulations. And that's a good thing. We know that there is a negative agenda or a dark cabal that wants to limit and control us. It's the guys behind "you will own nothing and be happy." It's them guys, their agenda. But the problem is that we don't fully know who's involved in that and where it's coming through into our life, because it is really a multi-pronged attack, isn't it? Now, when the new president gets sworn in America on the 20th of January, I think we can expect to see massive unrest, massive change too. And we'll just have to see which way that goes, won't we? Some people are very happy that he's back in power, in inverted commas. Some people are very unhappy, of course. So there can be unrest there. Maybe even civil unrest, maybe even some kind of civil war or an outbreak. Maybe he'll even think, oh, this is a great time to bring in martial law, which is another version of a lockdown, isn't it, in a sense? So all of that is potential. People think he's going to come in and make everything right. Well, not everyone, of course, but some people do. He certainly said some really good things, hasn't he? Some things that I've, had real hope for, some things that I've cheered for. Yay, that's going to be amazing. But I've seen a lot of really dodgy stuff coming out of Camp Trump as well. So I'm not really so trusting. Maybe I have trust issues when it comes to government, politicians, and authority. In fact, I think it's fair to say that I absolutely do. Manipulation and coercion have been played on the population before, and it worked. They tested it, they know what works, and they know what to do and how to do it again. So will people stand up against it this time round, or will they cave in? Well, that remains to be seen. And it depends as well how it's presented to us, because people can be very gullible, when the right people are talking to them. And let's be honest, Donald Trump and his team are very clever with their words. So you really need to keep your wits about you to work out what's what in this whole thing. A lot of what he says is coded as well, and so you need to read between the lines of that. I think it's fair to say that as you evolve your consciousness, it's much easier to kind of feel and sense and read that code as well. We talk about people being asleep or people being sheep and following and all of that stuff. All I can say is the more you expand your consciousness and evolve, you can pick up on that much more easily, because again, we're aligning more and more to the truth vibration. So importantly as well, it's about tuning into your own heart, your own inner guidance, letting that guide you. Now, people are talking about lockdowns and wearing masks again. Yeah, I can see that they'd love to do that. My question is, who exactly is doing that or trying to? Because it's not the guys that are on the side of the light. So who will you follow this time around? Discernment is going to be a very important quality to have this year, because many people will be searching for information and guidance to help them in their awakening process, because we really are going through a mass awakening. There is a massive awakening process going on. You just can't deny that, It's everywhere. It's happening all over the planet. Those that resist this process of awakening will experience more pain and discomfort than those who choose to embrace it. Now, when I mean that the people resisting this is the ones that just won't budge from their rigid mindset, that won't be open to looking at other things. Research is very important, because there's so much information and misinformation and disinformation everywhere. We really have to look at it from all angles, but what we tend to do is look just for information that validates our own opinion. And that is very limiting, of course. So the people that resist are going to be, resist this expansion that wants to happen naturally and organically from within them. They are going to experience more pain and discomfort because of the rigidity that they're holding. And this awakening is not being forced upon you. If you're here now, then your soul chose to have this opportunity to grow and expand. The 3D ego mind can, of course, choose to reject this opportunity of expansion. But as I said, then you will experience more pain and discomfort in that rigidity and the resisting of this urge of growth and expansion of consciousness that wants to come through you. So you're actually almost setting up an internal battle of your ego mind and your heart and your spirit. And this is going to be true at every level, by the way, this next level of growth and expansion. So this is not just for those people that are just starting to wake up. It's for all of us as we make our shift to our next level of development. And, sometimes having someone to help us as we move through these levels is very, very important, very useful. But the problem I see is that there is an awful lot of fakes out there, quite honestly. People that are running real service to self programs. And quite honestly, some of their work will lead you down a dark pathway. And some of it is just downright dangerous, to be perfectly honest with you. So just like politicians and governments, these spiritual teachers, leaders, influencers, are quite capable of manipulating you to believe what they want you to believe. And we don't expect that in the spiritual worlds, in the spiritual industry. We think, oh, everybody must be good because it's all spiritual. But no, sadly, it's not that way. So again, discernment is a key piece in keeping you clear and on the right track. Because we tend to be gullible, as I said, when it comes to our spirituality. We kind of believe nearly anything we're told, almost, until we develop a spiritual backbone. I think that helps us to discern more clearly. I think we actually give our power away too easily to these types of spiritual teachers. Well, it really is another level of giving our power away, isn't it? We give our power away to governments, we give our power away to doctors, because we think they have our best interests at heart. But no, they don't all, and that's not the way it is. So we need to learn to become sovereign quickly. A great many spiritual influencers are currently on the scene, passing off information as their own, but in actual fact, it's not their own. It's taken from somewhere else, and they have no embodied experience of it. They are giving teachings and processes that are not of the light. These are distorted teachings much of the time, coming from, some of the extraterrestrial groups that are here and off the planet as well. The Anunnaki, the Dracs, the reptilians, all of that. And let me say as well, contrary to popular belief, and this won't be, a lot of people won't be happy when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just because somebody is channeling a Pleiadian or an Andromedan or a Syrian being, it doesn't mean that it is true, real, or of the light. Because in all of those kind of genetics, there's good and bad, there's light and dark, just like there are good humans and bad humans in a sense, right? So just because someone says, oh, I'm channeling such and such a being, it doesn't mean that what's coming through is really even for your highest good. I know the words can sound really good, but we have to as well learn to tune into the frequencies of what's coming through, and particularly because it's so fashionable for everybody to channel light language right now that nobody really knows what it means, but it's all about the frequency. Frequency is huge this year and going onwards. You know, everyone's saying, oh, frequency is the new healing and sound is the new healing. Yeah, it is, but it also can be used in a way that is distorted. Don't forget that. So there are people out there, spiritual influencers, who are the equivalent of the paid politicians and doctors, you know. Like Hollywood actors too, and the singers and all of that stuff, the artists. Honestly, it's a freaking circus out there, isn't it? No wonder people are getting lost and losing their souls without even realising it. And I haven't even talked about transhumanism and artificial intelligence in this video, so maybe let's leave that for another day. Now, your soul and your connection to Source or God is the most precious thing that you could ever have. You have to really guard that with everything you have. Many of these spiritual influences have sold their souls already. I know that sounds dramatic, but please believe me. So please don't follow them. Learn to value your own inner knowing, to develop a relationship with your own soul, yourself, not something external that you have to give your power away to. Not somebody external who will tell you what you should be doing. How do we do that, though, when we're just starting out, when we don't know much of this stuff yet? But I get it. You know, we all search for someone to tell us things. We read books and we listen to videos because we're craving that information. But I promise you, when you learn to tune into yourself, all of the right information for you is in your body. It's in your own cellular memory. It's in the layers of your light body, and you can access all of that yourself. Now, of course, there are some really good teachers and some really genuine teachers out there as well that really do want to help you with this and have the ability to help you with this. But you just got to be careful and keep your wits about you, like with everything right now. Of course, I have a series of courses that is specifically designed to help you to learn to trust yourself, to love yourself, to believe in yourself, to develop a strong sense of self-worth and empowerment, so you can authentically live your life and get completely into alignment with your own soul purpose. That's all of the work that I do, and I have all of that available. So if you need any help with that, you can reach out to me. I also have a membership group where we discuss all of these kind of things, like the false ascension matrix, the star seed trap, ascension mechanics, and how to do it well, and how to protect yourself and how to develop that discernment. So I have all of that kind of stuff going on. If you're looking for that, reach out to me and I'll tell you where you can find information, and I'll tell you what I've got. Now, authenticity is a key point this year. If you are faking it, it won't fly anymore. And we will see these fake influencers start to crash and burn. We'll see their empires start to crumble and break down, because they will just not be able to hold fake in the new energies of truth that we're moving into, that are coming onto the planet very rapidly right now. Now, of course, this won't happen immediately. And some of them may course correct as well. You know how the universe comes through and gives you a kick in the bum to get back on track. They may do that as well. But it's really best if you're just not caught up with the fallout and the misalignment of all of that work. I, in the past, quite honestly, years back, have followed a few teachers who I now believe have corrupt or distorted teachings. And it took me several years to unpick all of the distorted teachings that I'd taken in. And it was a big work, actually, to go through every single belief that I'd had, or every process that I'd learned, to see, was it aligned to truth? Was it of the highest frequency, or was there distortion there? I have gone through everything that I can find that I took on from another teacher to work out, is this really true for me or not? So that's a big work. And if you can avoid having to take it in and then unpick it all, then your ascension process will be very much quicker, because you won't have to, go backwards for a little while and then, come good again, if you know what I mean. Now, I have noticed that some of these people are actually spelling their audience, putting a spell on you. Now, at some point, that spell will break down, but it can cause a lot of heartache while you're under the influence of that spell, and it can also cost you an awful lot of money. Obviously, I've worked with a lot of people who have been in spiritual cults. That is kind of like a spell as well. It's like a mind control as well. And it takes a lot of work to unpick all of that, as I've said. Now, there are a few girls around at the moment who are spelling their audiences. They're big earners, these girls. They talk about 6 and 7, multiple 6 and 7 figure businesses. And they sound very attractive, in what they're offering. So just keep your wits about you, because not everything is as it first appears to be. Now let's talk about the health industry as well, because this is going to be a big thing going forwards this year. Not the sickness industry or big pharma, but the health industry, food and supplements, health food and supplements. Now you'll notice that there's going to be a big push towards health happening. Especially anti-aging and longevity, even immortality, to be honest. Now, you would think that that's a good thing, right? Of course, we all want health, we want better health, we want longevity, anti-aging. Well, yes and no. Yes, it's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. Yes, being healthy is always good, because without good health, life sucks, doesn't it? But what you will begin to see is more and more celebrity endorsements of health products coming now. Why? Well, because Big Pharma has stuffed it, people no longer trust them, and they're searching for something else. And when people are searching for something, that, to the unscrupulous, is an invitation to make money from people, very unscrupulously sometimes. Now, if you pay a celebrity enough, they will endorse pretty much anything. And I'm sorry, but you can't necessarily trust them just because you admire them. Some of them don't even understand what's in the products that they're actually endorsing and promoting, because many of them are coming up with their own brands and labels. But let's be honest, they are not scientists or nutrition experts. So they have brought in teams of scientists to formulate something for them. And they're going to rest on their reputation as a celebrity to draw people in. It's really, really important. I know that, you may not want to become a nutritionist. I've been interested in nutrition for many years already, and I don't understand everything, especially now because there's so many new products on the market. But I do my very best to research what I'm going to be taking into my body. And believe me, there are some pretty horrific things in our supplements that we thought were good for us. So it's really worth researching that and understanding all of that as much as you can anyway. Just because a celebrity that you like is endorsing it, it doesn't mean it's good. And the thing is, people are experiencing so many health challenges now from the pokes in the arm or from food and alcohol and stuff that they've ingested. There's a lot of bad food on the shelves these days. There's a lot of toxins in the chemicals that we put on our skin, in the air that we breathe. I'm really doing my very best right now to change so many products in my home to go as low toxicity as I can to help my body to heal, because it's going to become more and more important for our awakening and ascension process. When your body is sick, it really puts a spanner in the works of your consciousness expansion, because you're so diverted into the ailments that your body's got. So doing cleanses and detoxing is going to become very, very popular because we need it, because we want it. And then that's when people, celebrity people, are going to jump onto that and honestly try to make money from it. So please be careful. Don't run and grab any old thing just because a celeb wants to sell it to you, because then you're just really idolizing them all over again in a different way. Not so much for the handbag or the designer outfit that they're wearing this time, but for the supplements or the shakes that they say they're taking. So again, keep your wits about you, because it's another level of external distraction, really. And the most important thing, as I've said, I'll say it again and again, the most important thing is your connection with your inner divine. Your inner divine, your connection with your spirit, with God, source, whatever you want to call that, is your absolute priority. If you are to discover your true origin, who you truly are as a divine human, and if you want to remember who you are, because I promise you, it's all within you. You don't need to go out there. It's all within you. And if you want to remember that authentically, that's the point. So not just from your ego mind that says, oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. There's a very different quality to cellular remembering than some remembering that your mind takes on board because you read a book and it kind of resonated. It's slightly different, but the book may lead you down the right path for further discovery, but really you want to get into the depths of your soul and let that inner knowing express it to you. Now, just as we are changing, Mother Earth is changing too. Everyone wants a 5D Earth. Actually, we call the 5D Earth Tara. But when this planet was Tara, back in the past, before the fall, it looked very different. There was water and land in different places. The climate was different too. It's unreasonable to expect that our planet can move from a 3D planet to a 5D planet and not change. So we can expect to see Earth changes. There will be, volcanoes and earthquakes and tsunamis and, water rising and land, all of that kind of stuff. That's going to happen starting this year, but more and more as we go forwards, because the Earth is in a process of transformation too. It's not climate change, though, let me just say. It's not what they're talking about. They know that the Earth is in an ascension cycle and it's shifting now. Again, they're jumping on that to sell you an agenda. What I'm talking about here is natural Earth changes. It has nothing to do with cows farting. But if they can sell you the story of carbon tax, global warming, climate change, carbon emissions, all of the stuff, if they can sell you that story and make you believe it and enforce it, they can make a lot of money from you and limit you even more. Geez, they're even talking about limiting how far you can drive in your car because of carbon emissions. That is all limitation. The changes that we will see on this planet are all to do with natural earth changes, not their story. So please educate yourself on that, research that, tune into your own inner knowing. Because back in the day, there was water where there is land. There was land, which is now hidden underneath the water. And as the earth goes through this process, it's going to grow and change and evolve. And we're going to have new land masses coming up, and we're going to see water changing. We're going to see temperatures changing here and temperatures changing there, rising, lowering, all of that stuff is going to go on as the earth transforms. And we transform too. The earth will become a very different place. And we kind of want that, don't we? We want this transformation, this evolution. And that will be coming. And it may worry us, but this is a natural process. We have to try and understand that this is the natural process. This is the time of ascension. We chose to be here for it. And I think it's important to choose to see this as very positive things. Very positive things. Now, I think that's probably enough on this today, because I could keep going, of course. But before I go, I do want to mention a class that I've got coming up on Thursday about the dark night of the soul. And this is important too, because as we go through these earth changes, and as we go through our personal life changes, it's possible, actually, I'm going to say it's probable, I'm forecasting this, that we will go through a personal and a collective dark night of the soul as we move through this year and beyond, but this year specifically. We're going to be going through this as a collective, and we're going to be going through this as a personal thing. And if you don't feel you're going through it personally, I'm pretty sure that you will be witnessing some of your friends or loved ones going through it personally, because we all have to go through these stages. I'm going to talk a lot more about the dark night of the soul, obviously, in the class, because I want to prepare you for what those steps are. Because if you can see what those steps are, it really does make it easier to move through it. You kind of know, okay, I'm at this stage and this is why. Okay, let me just sit with this. Let me move through this. It becomes much easier. So I'm going to be going into depth about that, because everyone will go through it because of the changes that we see. These transformational events that are going to play out through 2025 will knock us into some kind of cleansing and expansion process. A little bit like the phoenix, the rising through the ashes, the death, the rebirth, all of this stuff. That is how transformation happens. So I'll put the link for that class below. There is a replay for 7 days after the class, and I appreciate that I'm not giving you a lot of time between now when you might watch this and the class. In fact, the class might already be past, but all of these classes that I teach are available inside my membership program, and I'll put that link there for you as well if you'd like to take a look at that. Also, people want to hear from me more. They want to discuss some things with me more, they've said. So I have set up a live come and chat with me inside my private, completely uncensored membership platform, because I can't talk about many of these things on, YouTube and Facebook and things, because they take my videos down. So I've got a private space now where we can talk about anything. You can come in there and ask me, what do you think about this teaching? What do you think about that? I've heard this. What's that? It's a completely non-judgmental, completely open discussion for us. If we could sit in a cafe with a cup of chai and do it, I'd love to do that with you. But we're all around the world, and so this is the best that we can do. Conscious conversation. So come and have a chat with me. Again, I'll put the details below. That's happening every other week inside my private membership space. I think that might be it for now. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, or you can DM me personally. I love to receive your questions, and I'm always open. I always read them, and nobody else does. I manage all of my own social media stuff and messages. So that's it from me today. I will endeavour to do more regular videos going forward. But anyway, there's a lot in this one, and I hope that you have enjoyed listening. Have a great week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.